Welcome back. Right. So we had that question. Dr. Dubey has arrived. Has he arrived? I don't think so. Okay, let us wait for Dr. Dubey to come. Then we'll talk about that boiling and the steaming aspect. Meanwhile, if you guys have any question, Ashish, do you have any question?
I do one question that is related to again boiling and steaming. I mean, if you look at even for that matter, for example, raw vegetable, the consumption of raw vegetable here in places like Delhi NCR, it's a bit risky because there is a lot of chemicals which are used for kind of for generating these vegetables.
Yes, yes, yes. So chemical and pesticides, right?
Yeah, a lot of it. So it becomes very tough to actually have things like salad.
Yeah, a lot of noise are coming. Yeah, I've muted. Yeah. So Dr. Dubey also has joined. So let me take both the questions together. I request those who are not talking can please mute themselves. Nitin. Yeah. Thank you. Right. So steaming and boiling. Steaming and boiling basically is application of RAW. Let's try and understand this. This is application of RAW, which modifies the taste in many substances. So that is acceptable in pure nature cure, since we are not chemically changing the taste of that ingredient by putting some extra chemicals, be it like herbs, but extra putting that chemical to change the taste, and just heating it or steaming it means application of radiation and water and air will enhance the taste. That is acceptable. That doesn't modify it a lot, right?
So
It just increases the consumability. Yes.
So you would say even like herbs like turmeric and all, they are not kind of acceptable because they change the taste of the.
Yeah. So if that particular substance which you are mixing is tasty in its single state, if turmeric you can consume separately and relish the taste, if it is palatable. So the definition of food is the palatability in its natural state, right? So if it is palatable in its natural state, then we can add it. There is no problem.
So and for that matter, green chilies like I mean things like green chilies. For example, I take a bit of green chilies. I like it. I mean,
can you consume it singly? If I offer you a plate of green chili when you come to my residence, will that be acceptable for you? How do you feel? How do you feel? Like, what is your perception towards the chili? Is it a tasty food, or it becomes tasty when it is added to something?
I probably won't have a plate of green chilies, but yes, a couple of green chilies does kind of.
That's because you have inculcated that consumption of chili over time.
Yeah, you are right. You may be right. In fact,
yeah. Just observe this. Observe this. Like in general, chili cannot be a tasty food for a human being.
Regarding
but we made it. Yes.
Regarding onion.
Regarding
onion.
Onion is if it is irritating singly, if you are consuming and you're finding it irritating, then it is irritating. Irritating means over engagement of vitality, isn't it? Onion, garlic, chili, everything, single state, these are irritating. So let's identify this aspect. Let's not be under any assumption that this is good for health, this has got so much, so and so vitamin, that is why we should consume. There is no validity of those proposals. So far we understood this, right? And regarding the pesticides and chemicals, those are the problems, Ashish. So we identify those are as the problem, but the solution is the organic organic alternative and self farming. These are the solutions if we can afford to. Till the time we need to use the water to wash those. So what we personally propose and like follow also, dipping the raw fruits in the water for some time. After bringing from market, in a clean water, we dip it, keep it for few hours. Then we rub it under the flow of the water, under the tap, we rub it, then we consume it. Right, and peeling the skin is recommended because skin is not tasty normally. If it is removable easily, definitely for the grapes, peeling the skin will be very tough. But for the fruits which are which we can peel the skin, we should peel the skin and discard the seed. Seed and skin are not the food separately, right?
Why? So they say that skin of the fruit has more fiber and it's good to have it.
Here we are talking about the voice of the organism, ma'am.
For example, apple, you can have it with the skin even.
Yeah, with the skin, if it is not removable easily, if it is possible to peel it, because to avoid these all aspects primarily, the pesticides,
Pesticides,
chemicals,
okay, okay.
right? To peel it, it is not too harmful for sure, right? But it is neither. The primary food is that pulp inside, which is very tasty, right? So taste will identify the goodness of the food, as simple as that. And we need not to refer anyone or any book to identify a food. I have that tool with me called tongue, right?
Suppose we feel like having seeds
Seeds, having seeds, why?
on some,
Under any assumption, or the taste of the seed is likable?
both actually, both
The assumption to be
50-50.
countered. Ma'am, assumption to be countered, because that's an idea which is bringing some emotion in me. If it is physically tasty for me while chewing, I enjoy that crunchiness, then it's fine, consume it.
Flax seeds, for example.
Yeah, so the same, the rule is the same. It should be physically enjoyable, not from the idea, not my own idea or somebody's idea I borrow, some book's idea that this particular
Some
seed has got.
people, nutritionists, they tell that because fruits, they have very less calories. I mean, the person's weight will reduce a lot. He'll become very skinny. So nuts and seeds should be added along with the fruits.
Yes, that's thanks for reminding. So in Peer Nature Cure, there is a recommendation of percentage of types of the food. This you can note down also in your mind or somewhere, because it is not there in this note. So we have 4 categories. One is the fruit, that is juicy category. Then we have vegetables, that is semi-juicy. And then we have the grains category. Grains category, which is semi-concentrated. And then we have seed category, which is concentrated. So these 4 categories, 1, 2, 3, 4. The recommended percentage, which brings the natural density of human being, which is 60 to 70, 55 to 75% of water, which is brought in this way: the 50, 35, 10, 5. I repeat, 50% fruits, 35% vegetable, 10% grains. Means this one includes potato also, which needs cooking, which needs steaming or boiling, and 5% seeds, water soaked ideally. So seeds includes all the nuts, all the this cashew, almond, all these walnut, all this together. And after soaking, it should be the 5%. Not in the raw form. Raw form will be too much. 5%.
So this
5% of the whole
vegetable
nut, weight-wise.
semi-juicy 35 includes the cooked also?
No,
Cooked
the
vegetable.
recommendation, this 85 is completely raw. This 85%, 50 plus 35 is recommended as raw. This is from a book called, we don't refer that, but definitely that's a kind of one book that Pure Nature Cure follows in many recommendations. Medicine Tomorrow. There is a book from Professor Zickley, Professor E.B. Zickley. We can share that PDF in the group. This recommendation is elaborated in that book, Medicine Tomorrow. Yes, sir.
One thing I want to ask, fruit and veggies can be mixed together or should be taken separately?
Yes, no worry. No worry. Just that the intention here is to just eat, not to suppress some food, some taste of the food for its consumption. Mixing is not a problem.
And the time to take grains, it is afternoon or evening is something.
So circadian cycle will cover it during the sleep again, while discussing about the sleep. According to the circadian cycle, let's discuss it now itself. The time for eating. Circadian cycle. Circa means around, dia means day. So around the day, how we should place our activities. So this particular circadian cycle recommends 3 8-hour slots. 8 hours, 8 hours, and 8 hours. 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., 4 a.m. to 12 noon, and 12 noon to 8 p.m. Right? So 3 hours we recommend in this. What are those hours? 4 a.m. to 12 noon. Okay, let's start with the 12 noon to 8 p.m. is receiving. Means eating time. The point of discussion. I'll come to the rationale. And then 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. is repairing. And 4 a.m. to 12 noon is releasing. Right? So receiving, repairing, releasing. Why? Now, why this slot and why this order? Why these slots recommended? So the first rationale of this slot recommendation is the time period from 12 noon to 8 p.m. is the highest ambient temperature and light. During this period, eating of the food will be very conserving, because we have a lot of conserved vitality in terms of managing the body temperature. The body temperature is maintained always 37 degrees centigrade. In the highest ambient temperature time, the amount of vitality allocated to maintain the body temperature will be least. And that conserved vitality can be used in the processing of the food. So effective consumption happens during this period. So irrespective of the grain, Dr. Dubey asked about the grain, But food consumption, if we can bring slowly and gradually in this period of time, no eating beyond this time. If we can achieve that, till the time we achieve it, before 12 noon, we should stick to just the least dense food, which is fruits. So the grain consumption definitely comes after the 12 noon. That answers you? And 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., let me cover that rationale as well, so that in the sleep we can cover. 8 p.m. to 12 noon is the least ambient light. And when there is least ambient light, the body is programmed to work inside. Body is not programmed to interact with the outside world. So effective repairing happened during that period. So if we can rest in this duration as much as possible, closer to the darkest hour of the day, which is 9 p.m. to the 12 midnight. If that 3 hours can be placed in our sleeping duration, all work and needed things can be placed after that or before that. After that is very peaceful time to work. So that leads to effective repairing. And releasing is the time where the elimination happens primarily. Right. So, and why this order? This order is obvious. Any construction site you go and see, first the raw material is received, then repairing is done. After that, only the releasing of the scrap happens, right? So this order, the rationale of the order, first the rationale of the slots, and then rationale of the order, right?
So if we do not believe that uh, defecation is not releasing, as you have said.
No, it is also releasing of the external toxin. Elimination is internal toxin elimination, but that is also an important aspect, right? So it is also the external toxin, if we retain, that also is going to impact on our health, because it will attract vitality and it will engage vitality also with its existence. Sir,
here you are focusing on the release, excretion process, not on the urination and sweating and breath.
All. In the morning, whatever the excretion and elimination happens, those contain the maximum toxin after the sleep.
One more thing I have to ask. When to stop eating? When you are eating raw fruits?
Yes.
When to stop?
When to stop?
When to stop eating?
That should be the time, or during one consumption, when to stop.
Yes, one time I am eating, and until I am satisfied or I feel full stomach, or I get
so that mindful eating should be mono eating. Mono eating means you are just mono work. That while eating, you should not watch TV, because that will disturb your observation towards the voice of the organism. So when to stop is to be indicated by your voice of the organism. Now I am full, I don't want to eat. So there could be that initially you will not be able to identify, but the burp that comes while eating, the first burp is the indication of the stoppage of the food. But initially it's very tough to identify which burp should I identify, right? Dakar, Hindi mein we call it Dakar. So the first burp that we experience while mindful eating is the indication of the stoppage. Yes, Shankar sir, you wanted to ask something.
Yes, sir. One thing, what is the difference between internal and external toxics?
So external toxin is the food that we eat after digestion and assimilation. Whatever the leftover is the external toxin, which is not yet a part of the body. It is just retained in the digestive system. Yeah. Body means blood. It is not yet a part of the blood. Now, when the blood gets filtered, that is the internal toxin.
Fine. And mixing of fruits and vegetables, whatever Dr. Dubey referred to.
Yes.
It is linked with, I mean, as per the story goes, that is acidic food and what do you call alkaline food. So do we consider these things in PNC?
Yeah, in our training, we don't consider that. In many natural health practitioners, they propose it. The rationale why we don't include it, because without the litmus test, this is very tough to identify which is acidic, which is non-acidic or alkaline. Right. So we propose to be mindful about the taste, the voice of the organism. Yes, you're saying something.
As far as my little knowledge goes, there is some test in Western countries regarding acidic value of urine. They call it PARAL test. So in that, they test the acidity of the urine, that is load acid test after it goes to the blood and yeah, what do you call filtered to the urine. They find a load of the food. If it is acidic, the very food is considered to be acidic food, not depending upon the myth that such and such food is acidic, such and such food is alkaline, because there is nothing called acidic food and alkaline food. It is the secretion which determines the value of that food, whether it is acidic or alkaline, depending upon the PRAL value in the urine.
I get that, but I don't understand that much. But what I understand, what I understand is the voice of the organism to identify a food.
That is more easier.
Which is very easy for me, for anyone to be dependent on self-indication.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have a question here. When you talk about the voice of the organism, and you ask us to actually go by taste. Now, with so many years of taste and our taste buds kind of understanding only what we have been eating and what we kind of get over this period of time, will it not be kind of really tough to identify what the voice of the organism is?
Yes, that is why the voice of the organism as proposed in PNC is not just acknowledging the feelings. It is questioning the feelings. From where are you coming? Voice of the organism doesn't propose that just celebrate your feelings. It proposes that question your feelings. What is the root of the question? If the root of the question is matter, then celebrate it. If it is idea based, somebody else's idea or my idea, in both the cases, if it is generating any feeling, it is questionable.
So let's take a case here. I mean, for example, I cook some chicken and I consume that. And obviously I find that very, and my voice of the organism says, so now here is the voice of the organism coming from the matter, or is it coming from the idea?
It is from the idea. It is from the idea for sure, because without cooking, the chicken will not attract you. The chicken will not attract you. Without cooking, the chicken is the matter.
Okay, and
when you see a chicken, if you feel to eat it then and there, then it is a matter-driven feelings. If the cooked chili chicken brings some feelings, then it is an idea. You are seeing a matter, but that matter is not the point of attraction. It is the idea which is attracting you. You are driven by the idea then.
So then all cooking is idea.
Yes, by default. By default. So less as possible idea will less toll on the vitality. That is what is the lessening of the spices, lessening of the salt. The spice and salt are never attracted without that idea of mixing. Try and understand the idea. Try and identify the idea there. Right. So I don't mind going for another session, because we are left with some content and I got an alert of 10 minutes. Will you guys be okay to go ahead for
Sure,
another
sure.
session?
No problem.
Okay.
Yes,
Go
fine.
for
So
another
we'll
session.
go for another session also. So let's go in a relaxed approach without hurrying and suppressing any question. Right. So I think the screen share is stopped. Yeah.
In the modern world, we take so many, we think we are educated because we take so many ideas. We try to get so many ideas. Now we have to do the reverse journey.
Very true.
Not exactly, ma'am. Not exactly. Why? Because it is not criticizing the idea. It is just criticizing the generation of feelings with idea. Because idea is the powerful things that we have. Actually, we have this exclusive neural capability to form idea, to make changes around us. That's a tremendous capability, and we are leading this planet due to that capability. Now try and understand that if some capability of mine is harming me, then why not to question that? It is a great tool. An idea can be the most powerful if it is not creating any feeling. That's an awareness based idea. So it is questioning the feeling, the origin of the feeling. And on the other hand, the feeling itself is a very powerful driver, indicators. Without the feeling, a life cannot be led. I need to have this pleasure and pain feeling, which guides me. But the root of the pleasure and pain, now we need to analyze and then go to the next step, identifying and acknowledging that feelings. Right. So let's
One
proceed.
question here,
Yes, yes,
sorry.
ma'am. Yes, yes.
So,
Please go ahead.
on the consumption of the raw veggies again. So, for example, any veggies, I'm unable to consume it raw, and I'm okay to have a juice of it. So, is it still okay without mixing anything else?
Yes, yes, yes. But the juice, we need to understand about the juice something. That juice is very condensed aspect. If you are extracting just the juice and leaving the pulp, then this is very concentrated aspect, and that assimilation and mixing of the chemicals happen in throughout the food track, food pipe. When you consume juice, it just directly hits the stomach. It doesn't stick around. It doesn't stick around. So it is a huge load suddenly put on the stomach, that you need to understand. So dilution of the juice is very important. Any green juice, if you are consuming, which is non-irritating, quite palatable, then dilute it by 50% water, mixing 50% water, so that the load on the stomach will be lesser. Understandable?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, yes. And sipping it
Sir,
slowly.
Kalyan sir, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the question is that like a lot of people keep advising, like I'm talking about eating raw, having fruits or salad, anything. But then everyone keeps saying that you should not eat just one thing or few things. You should have the variety. You should have all the colors in your diet. So how much of this actually matters? Because if I talk about my personal choice, I can eat certain things raw. I don't need to add lemon. I don't need to add salt or anything. But when it comes to certain other things, if I do not modify the taste, I won't be able to eat for a long time. I may eat it, as a compromise that, okay, for my health reason, I'm eating it, but not for long. So how do we balance this or justify this idea of eating everything to have like the range of nutrition?
Yeah, we need to be open with this awareness that in nature there are varieties available. In nature there are varieties available. This awareness should be there with us, and we should expose ourselves to the varieties of the food and then take the call according to my attraction, not somebody's proposal. So we should necessarily expose ourselves to the varieties of the food available in nature, seasonally, regionally, and it's in its original state. We should expose ourselves, and after that take a call with the voice of the organism, the original voice of the organism, which is driven by the matter. Exposing myself with the pineapple and I feel attracted towards it, then I eat it. That's the framework.
Okay, thank you.
Right? Sir,
Yes.
please. You're mute, sir. Shankar, sir, you're mute.
Right. The
Yeah.
thing is craving matter driven or chemical driven?
So so this is clearly you can identify if the sight of the fruit or the food is attracting you. We are taking the fruit example first.
right.
If the food is in front of you and you feel an attraction, that is a matter driven attraction. If just the thought is coming in your mind and you feel salivation, if you feel attraction, that's an idea driven. That idea driven aspect is the craving.
But if
Is it?
samosa is there in front,
The samosa is not the matter, ma'am.
so it's a matter with idea.
That
But
no,
we
the
see it and we feel the craving.
matter in the samosa is wheat. Keep raw wheat in front of you. Do you feel attraction? It is the structure of the samosa, combination of the material which attracts you, not the matter in it. We need to identify what is matter and what is idea.
Even the taste is the main source of attraction.
Yes.
So we should,
all these are ideated.
we should give
These
respect
are
to that
ideated.
too. Keeping in mind
No,
consciously.
definitely. If it is idea driven, if the emotion is idea driven, then it is not reliable at all.
But
Because
again,
it is driven by the idea and that loop is formed there.
But again, we cannot go against our mind. That okay, we were enjoying these things till now. Now I am aware, but again, we can slowly reduce it.
Yes. So the first step is acknowledgement of this, that the attraction of the samosa is not a matter attraction. This is the first step.
Mm-hmm.
Attraction towards the samosa is the idea attraction. Somebody's idea, somebody's borrowed idea is attracting me and driving me crazy. This identification, let's stay with this identification at the first place.
This is applicable to non-veg users, I mean takers also.
Any food, any modified food is not the matter but the idea.
As this is applicable to any food, then no food also. I'm again dragging to that point.
Yes. No food, something imaginary.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think few minutes are left. Yeah. Himanshu sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, will you be able to stay for the next session?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then you can do the recordings as you are doing. It's a great help, sir. Like all of us are benefited.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. To YouTube playlist, all these recordings are uploaded. So just in case you want to refer, without attending the live session, recording is of no use. But after attending some time, if you want to revise or revisit something, then you can go for it. Right. So I think few minutes are left. Should we switch off this one and reinitiate another with a step?